not timeless, it is historical. Each era of teaching reflects the dominant technologies, economic systems, and social expectations of its time. What teachers value, how they teach, and what students are expected to learn are never random. These choices respond to the needs of society.
Ang edukasyon ay hindi kusang nagbabago. Ito ay hinuhubog ng lipunan at ng panahon. Kapag nagbago ang mundo, napipilitan ding magbago ang paaralan. Sa madaling salita, ang edukasyon ay sagot sa pangangailangan ng lipunan sa bawat yugto ng kasaysayan.
We trace the evolution of educators across three major periods, each responding to a different version of progress, each carrying different assumptions about knowledge, learners, and the role of the teacher. From the post-war period to the late 20th century, education aligned closely with industrial economies. Factories, offices, and institutions depended on routine. Education mirrored this need through structure, discipline, and standardization.
Sa panahong ito, ang lipunan ay humihingi ng kaayusan at disiplina. Ang paaralan ay naging parang pabrika. May oras, may ranggo, at may malinaw na utos. Ang layunin, ihanda ang kabataan bilang masunuring manggagawa na akma sa industrial na ekonomiya.
If teachers believed that embarrassment motivated learning and public shame would drive children to work harder and behave better, I thought in time when knowledge was stable and slow to change. Textbook lasted decades. What I learned as a student, I use it as a teacher. Our role was clear: deliver content accurately, test retention, and maintain order. For example, in a history class, students memorize dates, names, and events. If they could recall them correctly in exams, learning was considered successful. Hindi namin tinatanong kung bakit ganito ang sistema. Dahil ito ang gumagana. The teacher was the authority. The student listened. If society needed disciplined workers who could follow procedures, was it not logical that education emphasized obedience, accuracy, and mastery of content? Kung ang lipunan ay nangangailangan ng ayusan, mali ba na ang edukasyon ay nakatuon sa kontrol?
By the 1990s, the world began to shift. Computers entered homes. The internet connected people globally. Education responded by integrating technology, but often without rethinking its deeper purpose. Schools began investing heavily in digital tools, believing that technology alone would modernize learning. However, access to information increased faster than changes in teaching philosophy, leaving many classrooms digitally equipped but pedagogically unchanged.
Biglang bumilis ang daloy ng impormasyon. Mas mura, mas madali, mas bukas sa lahat. Sa tulong ng computers at internet, parang pumasok ang buong mundo sa silid-aralan. Ngunit kahit nagbago ang anyo ng pagtuturo, madalas pareho pa rin ang diwa. Teknolohiya ang gamit, pero tradisyonal pa rin ang paraan ng pag-iisip.
I entered teaching during the digital boom. Suddenly, students are no longer dependent on teachers for information. We introduced PowerPoint, learning management systems, online quizzes, and virtual libraries. Instead of writing notes on the board, I show slides. Instead of printed handouts, I uploaded PDFs. Ang paniniwala namin noon, kapag may teknolohiya, may inobasyon. But we soon realized we digitized lectures, but we did not always transform learning. Teaching became faster and more convenient, but not necessarily deeper or more meaningful. Kung pareho pa rin ang paraan ng pagtuturo, nagbago na ba ang edukasyon o nag-iba lang ang itsura nito? This approach fulfilled the need for access. More students could learn anytime and anywhere, even if the core pedagogy remained teacher-centered.
Around 2011, a new industrial revolution emerged, powered by artificial intelligence, automation, big data, and cyber-physical systems. Jobs changed faster than curricula. Skills expired faster than degrees. Education was challenged to prepare learners not just for specific jobs, but for constant change, uncertainty, and lifelong learning.
Dito nagsimulang mabuwag ang dating katiyakan. Ang tanong ngayon ay hindi na, ano ang alam mo? Kundi, ano ang kaya mong gawin kapag nagbago ang lahat? Sa panahon ng tuloy-tuloy na pagbabago, mahalaga ang kakayahang umangkop, matuto muli, at mag-isip ng kritikal.
If machines can retrieve information instantly, what is the value of memorizing content? Kung kayang palitan ng makina ang kalaman, saan lulugar ang mga guro?
Students began asking questions we were not trained to answer. Not, what should I memorize? But, will this skill still matter in 5 years? Dito namin naintindihan na hindi na sapat ang pagiging eksperto.
Education 4.0 emerges not as a rejection of the past, but as a response to uncertainty. It recognizes that knowledge alone is no longer enough in a world defined by rapid change and complexity.
Hindi nito binubura ang nakaraan. Binabago nito ang layunin. Mula sa simpleng pag-alala ng impormasyon, ngayon ay nakatuon sa paglinaw ng kakayahang mag-isip, umangkop at lumikha ng solusyon. Ang guro ay hindi na tagapagkontrol, kundi gabay sa gitna ng kawalan ng katiyakan.
I do not compete with technology. I design learning around what technology cannot replace. Critical thinking, ethical judgment, creativity, collaboration. Instead of asking students to memorize facts, I ask them to solve real problems, analyze data, debate solutions, and reflect on consequences. Kung ang AI ay mahusay sa sagot, ang guro ay dapat mahusay sa tanong. My role is not to control learning, but to guide learners through uncertainty. Handa ba tayong tanggapin na ang papel natin ay hindi na kontrol, kung hindi paggabay?
With power comes responsibility. Education 4.0 raises urgent ethical questions. Who benefits from these technologies? Who is left behind? And who decides how learning data is used.
Hindi lahat ng pagunlad ay patas. Hindi lahat ng inobasyon ay makatao. Kapag nauuna ang teknolohiya kaysa katarungan, may mga mag-aaral na pag-iiwanan. Kaya tungkulin ng edukasyon na tiyakin na ang pagbabago ay may kasamang malasakit at pagka-pantay-pantay.
Technology can widen inequality. Some students have fast internet and AI tools, others struggle to access basic devices. Kung hindi maingat, ang edukasyon ay nagiging pribilehiyo, hindi karapatan.
That is why ethics, equity, and digital citizenship must be foundational, not optional. Ang tanong ay hindi lang kaya ba, kundi para kanino. Perhaps the greatest shift is this. Education now carries moral weight alongside academic rigor.
Hindi ka sapat ang tama. Kailangan ding makatalunan. True progress in education is not only about excellence, kundi kung sino ang kasama at hindi naiiwan pagdating sa harapan.
Each educator was shaped by their time. Their practices reflected the needs, tools, and realities of the world they served.
Walang mali. Bawat panahon ay may ginampan ng papel. Ngunit ang hamon ngayon ay matutong magbago habang dala ang mga aral ng nakaraan. Ang edukasyon ay hindi lamang naghahanda para sa hinaharap. Ito mismo ang lumilikha ng hinaharap.
I taught for stability in a time where structure and certainty were needed most.
I taught for access, to open doors to information and opportunity through technology.
I teach for adaptability, ethics, and humanity. Ngayon, ang tanong ay hindi na kung anong panahon tayo nabibilang, kundi anong uri ng guro ang pipiliin nating maging.